Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. In this week's Misconception in Astronomy, we are going to talk about eclipses and find out if eclipses occur every month. So let's get started here. So do eclipses occur every month? No, they definitely do not. However, they are actually more common than people think. So sometimes people think an eclipse will occur every month somewhere in the world, and that's not correct, but eclipses are also not rare. And in fact, if we look at the next 5 years or so, from 2026 to 2030, there will be between 4 and 6 eclipses each year. Now, that depends on where the eclipses are visible. So, for example, for 2027, there are 2 eclipses in February and 2 eclipses in August. And we'll see that there's an annular solar eclipse in February and then a total solar eclipse in August. And then there are 2 penumbral lunar eclipses, which are very minor eclipses where the moon does not even get into the darkest part of the shadow. Note how they come in pairs. That's because there is an eclipse season when everything is at the right point. So we have to have, in order to have an eclipse, we have to have the sun, earth, and moon all need to be lined up. So we can kind of see that here. Here is an example showing the nodes of the orbits of the Earth, Moon, and Sun. So there is an ascending node and a descending node. And what occurs is that at those points, the Earth, Moon, and Sun will be able to line up. Those are when the eclipse seasons will occur. Now, these occur because the moon's orbit is tilted by about 5 degrees. And that means that most of the year, the sun or the moon will pass well away from each other, and the moon will pass well above or below the sun in the sky and not have an eclipse, or well above or below Earth's shadow and not give us a lunar eclipse. Now, because of this, we get eclipses in pairs like this. So when you're very close to the node, you might get a really nice total solar eclipse. And then at the other time, you're going to be a little farther away and you're not going to get as nice of an eclipse 2 weeks before or 2 weeks later around the other eclipse. So if you get a really nice solar eclipse, you probably won't get a very good lunar eclipse that time, and vice versa. Now, the types of eclipses that we can get include solar eclipses. And let's take a look at one of those. So here we see an example of a solar eclipse. So that is not the moon there. That is actually a portion of the sun. The moon is the dark portion blocking it out. These are rare for any specific location. You have to be in the right location to see a solar eclipse, and especially for a total solar eclipse, you have to be right on the eclipse path. You could be 10 or 20 miles away and you would not get a total eclipse. Larger areas will see a partial eclipse where between just a couple percent of the sun will be blocked, which would barely be noticeable, to having something like we see here where almost all of the sun is blocked. Now, the other type of eclipse is a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is visible from more areas, and they can be seen as long as the moon is above the horizon. This is the moon passing into Earth's shadow and therefore becoming dimmer and redder because of red light scattered into Earth's shadow by our atmosphere. So a lunar eclipse is relatively more common because you only have to be on the nighttime side of Earth for it to be visible. A solar eclipse, you have to be at the right location. So let's go ahead and finish up here with our summary. And what we've looked at today is that eclipses do not occur every month because of the tilt of the moon's orbit relative to the Earth-Sun plane. Several eclipses do occur every year. So we do not have a year where an eclipse will not occur, but not every location on Earth will get to see every eclipse. So that concludes this week's Misconception in Astronomy on eclipses occurring every month. We'll be back again next week for another Misconception in Astronomy. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.